This morning, the kid from the Ozarks reimagining crime stories for a new generation. If you haven't seen his name attached to a book, TV show, or movie yet, you will soon. Jordan Harper is in the middle of a flurry of projects, including a big-budget graphic novel adaptation for Amazon. Plus, he's coming off one of the most talked-about books of last year, Everybody Knows.
Our jobs are ridiculous. We get to plan how to murder somebody and then plan how to solve it.
Jordan Harper grew up on a farm in the Ozarks with, he says, hippie parents who made belts and candles.
I was dictating stories to my mom for her to write down before I was literate. I would draw pictures of monsters and then tell her how they were fighting so she could write down the descriptions. And it started from that, and it really hasn't ever stopped.
Harper's fascination with storytelling was propelled by family legend, specifically the infamous Young Brothers Massacre in Missouri in 1932, the largest loss of law enforcement in America up until 9/11.
You were obsessed with this when you were a kid.
Yeah, again, this is the story of my family.
Harper's great-granduncle, Ali Crosswhite, was one of the officers killed.
He had taken cover here, and then after all the other cops were dead, he was the last one left alive, and one of them snuck around the corner and shot him. And it's just the way it's written, with like a whizzing, sizzling bullet took him in the back. It entered just below the left shoulder blade and tore a jagged wound clear through his chest cavity.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot for like whatever
a
just literate kid to pick up and read,
yes.
And be told is important. Not just read, but be told, no,
Yeah.
this is an important part of your family.
As he pursued his own storytelling dreams, Harper originally tried being a critic. First music, then film, both unhappily.
I wanted to be a writer, and I saw myself critiquing these movies in this kind of writerly way, like I could do it better. And I think that is a really pernicious thing for a critic to have in them, and I'm very glad that I recognized that in myself and realized that I didn't want to be a critic, I wanted to be a writer. And that's really when I started moving towards trying to write fiction.
While working on his fiction, Harper wrote for TV shows, including The Mentalist.
Patrick Jane, FBI, drop your weapons, you're coming with me.
And he's currently showrunning an adaptation of the graphic novel Criminal for Amazon Prime.
I'm trying to get down to a 2 years a book schedule, but so far I am not hitting that. I'm closer to 3.
But we came to speak with him mostly about Everybody Knows, a novel set in Harper's adopted hometown.
Nobody talks, but everybody whispers.
Yeah, that's sort of the way Hollywood works. When you fly in here, when you stand up above Los Angeles, you can kind of see this soup that we all live in, this gray soup, but it's still beautiful. And I think that is kind of the key to Los Angeles, is that it's dirty and grimy and beautiful all at the same time, you know?
In Everybody Knows, Harper savagely explores LA's entertainment underbelly through the eyes of two ex-lovers, a publicist and a former cop. It has big ambition written all over it.
America has always been about this movement west, this like manifest destiny, and this is it. This is the western edge, right? Yeah. This is America with its back up against the wall, and that's what I find makes it such an electric city.
And the perfect backdrop for Harper as he tries to seize the mantle of the next great noir writer. Maybe a modern-day James Ellroy.
Noir is a dark, cynical genre. When you say you want to reimagine it, what does that mean?
Well, I think that a lot of crime fiction, specifically noir and crime fiction written by men, is often backwards looking. And so what I wanted to do was figure out how to tell the same kind of stories set in right now.
To Harper, Hollywood is built not just to cover up, but reward bad behavior, which is what you see all over Everybody Knows.
It is a portrait of violence and power and money and sex, and it's been that way since at least the 40s, if not before. And it's exactly the same way as it was back then. It's just, we hide it a little better now.
This book is about how the levers of power operate.
Yes.
And how people use the press.
Yeah, it's about how people use the press to benefit themselves.
The official term is crisis management.
Yes.
You coined the term black bag.
Yes.
publicist.
Black bag
That's
PR.
yours.
That is mine.
Your language.
Yeah, I always thought it would be so much fun to come up with a phrase like that that could enter the lexicon and become the phrase that people use.
Everybody knows is the world of black bag in its deepest, darkest version possible. But it is not without glints of light.
It's really dark, and it's really scary and cynical, but it's also really romantic.
I wanted it to be really romantic. And, it is dark and cynical, but, I think that most of the best noir is not written by cynics. It's written by disappointed idealists.
Yeah.
And that's what I consider myself.
Yeah, that's what you are.
That's what I am. My firmly held belief is that the world that exists is not the world that has to exist, and that the world can change and should change. And I think we're getting to a place where it must change.
Really ambitious guy and a great stylist on the page. And I'm not necessarily a huge graphic novel fan always, but I'm really looking forward to seeing this criminal that he's...
I just like black bag PR.
Black bag.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What was behind that chuckle? I'm just curious.
My
You think-
chuckle or
no,
his
his
chuckle?
chuckle.
The
His
romance?
chuckle.
we were just having a conversation
Yeah,
about the book and everything else. Yeah, if you want a very interesting look at the world of public relations and PR, specifically the black
it.
bag
Bag
world,
PR.
check out Everybody Knows.
All righty, we will.